This time I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Walsh?
Here.
Commissioner Doherty?
Here.
Commissioner Strack?
Here.
Commissioner Sabota?
Here.
Commissioner Thacker?
Here.
Commissioner Gerda?
Here. Thank you, Dorothy. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for the public input portion, which is a 5-minute portion of the meeting for non-agenda items. See no movement from the gallery. We will close the public input portion of the meeting. This time I'd like to recognize Commissioner Alderman Pat Devine, who's in the audience. Alderman, thanks for coming and participating in our meeting. We appreciate you being here tonight. At this time, I'd be looking for a consideration of the approval of the meeting minutes dated September 19th from our regular planning and zoning meeting. Are there any changes or revisions? Please raise a hand. If not, I would be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Sabota, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Walsh. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Doherty?
Yes.
Commissioner Strack?
Yes.
Commissioner Sabota?
Yes.
Commissioner Thacker?
Yes.
Commissioner Gerda?
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Excellent, thank you, Dorothy. At this time, I'd like to open file Z941. The applicant is AJ Shaw LLC, 520 South Illinois Route 31 in McHenry. The requested action is a conditional use permit to allow a tavern, outdoor seating with alcohol and smoking area, food trucks, and outdoor entertainment. The subject property is located at 522 South Illinois Route 31, which is located on the northeast corner of Route 31 and Bow Valley Road / Charles Miller Road. I do have the return receipts for the adjacent properties along with the publication notice from the Northwest Herald and a signed affidavit from the petitioner. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Sam Shaw, 520 South Route 31, McHenry, Illinois 60050.
Thank you.
Dave Gillespie, Gillespie Design Group, we're architects, 5307 Business Parkway, Suite 101, Ringwood, Illinois.
Excellent, thank you so much. Tell us why you're here tonight.
We're here because we have this prominent corner in the city of McHenry that Mr. Shaw wants to put to use here. And it's a beautiful opportunity. He recognizes a need for a vibrant hospitality arena here that offers an inviting place to hang out, to socialize, but not just that, but to make it a lively destination spot with a theme for a bourbon bar, a tavern, and with a humidor, outdoor seating, outdoor focal point, probably a fire feature, and that kind of thing to help attract people, make it look exciting from the passers-by at the intersection as they wait at the light and look on, and put this building to use, and in the process change the look so it doesn't nobody recognizes it as a McDonald's any longer.
No.
We have a number of challenges on the site because it is a McDonald's geared towards a drive-through, and trying to utilize the site and a site on the corner it has challenges in itself, just the accessibility. We can talk about some of those challenges if you want, but it's it's promoting the another establishment in the hospitality arena here in the city of McHenry.
Excellent, thank you so much. Staff, please give us your report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the requested action is a conditional use permit for a tavern, basically with outdoor seating with alcohol and a smoking area with food trucks and outdoor entertainment. That encompasses the entire request. The subject property was annexed, developed as a McDonald's approximately in 1993. The building has since been vacant since McDonald's relocated approximately a quarter mile to the north. The applicant purchased the subject property and really has been, wrestling with, what to do with the property for some time. The applicant has made overtures to the property owner to work with them as far as opening up the property, has done his best to do that to no avail, but has to move on with his business. So always had the intention to open an upscale bourbon whiskey kind of bar and a cigar bar as well. I know he's done a lot of research on this. This is not just kind of a whim. This is something he's put a lot of research and thought into. So smoking is not permitted inside. We did meet with the health department many months ago. There has to be, if it's under any cover, there has to be an opening. There can't be four walls. So that's the basic rule, or it has to be outside. But there would be a humidor inside where they would have cigars for sale, and there would be a tavern. You had the site plan, and then in your places tonight, there is also the inside layout before you, and so you can see that as well. The subject property is it's very difficult to work with, especially now. There's a restriction on the property that there could be no food cooked within the building for 20 years. And it's been about 3.5, 4 years. And that's a deed restriction placed on it by the previous owner. The site has extremely limited access. So the entire center really has struggled since the access has been limited. I think the applicant's proposal will help the property, it will help the center. This will be a destination type business. I think it has to be. It's at a very prominent corner. That's what it has going for it. It has great visibility. The applicant has a lot of experience dealing with alcohol. I mean, he knows what he's doing, and he's run a lot of successful businesses. So he has a lot of connections with entertainment. I think he has a good plan. So I think he has a good layout and a good opportunity here. There's a couple additions you can see onto the building that they're planning. A seating area and then a cooler, other than just using what is existing. And staff at this time would recommend approval of the conditional use to allow the tavern with outdoor seating with alcohol and the smoking area, the food trucks and outdoor entertainment. Not putting the restriction on, I know the outdoor seating area has a restriction of 10 p.m. and not including that in this, because I'm including this as a request under the conditional use for the tavern. So this would be no restriction, no time restriction attached to it. So I'm including this as a conditional use to allow a tavern with outdoor seating, period. And then putting a couple conditions on there that they get approval from the health department. Obviously they're gonna need that. And then the fencing, which they're showing of the outdoor seating area outside to be closed, and then just a screening strip so their headlights don't shine onto Charles Miller Road, just a hedgerow. Just, that's the only other condition. So at this time, I'll answer any questions you may have. And the applicant has met the requirements of table 31 of the zoning ordinance.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. At this time, I would like to open questions and concerns to commissioners, and I will start with Commissioner Walsh.
What are the hours of operation for this facility gonna be?
It's gonna be, right now, we're gonna start late, 4 o'clock, when we see how's busy. Is how my suppliers, they wanna do the, like, sometimes suburban scotch we wanna do, they wanna come in the morning, they don't wanna sometimes come at night. So we're gonna have a private, so we're gonna start maybe early, it's not gonna be like early, about 12 o'clock, but mostly gonna start after 3.
At 3 o'clock you're
Yeah.
starting, and the end time would be?
End time is gonna be 12.
Okay. That's all I have right now.
Excellent. Commissioner Gerber.
I don't have any questions at this time.
Excellent. Commissioner Thacker.
How exactly will it work with the food trucks? I guess this would kind of be for you as well, Doug. Now, you're gonna open at 3 or 4, come 6, let's say. Do the trucks just show up, or the trucks just show up every day? And
No. This is
how-
like
how is-
when we
how-
do.
How does that work?
We're gonna do events, like we're gonna do like a fest, bourbon fest, something, and then we're gonna put a food truck.
So it'd be like special events.
Special events, yes.
Okay, so
Social
it's not
events.
like you're gonna be
Not a regular
providing-
base, no.
Okay,
No,
okay.
no.
So if you have something special coming up
Specials,
with the establishment, then you'd
We're gonna get a
arrange
food
to
truck,
have
yeah.
a food truck there, okay. Okay. And you're talking, this is 7 days a week?
Yes.
The operation of the,
Yeah, it's gonna be 7 days, yeah.
Okay. That's all I have right now.
Excellent. Commissioner Sabota?
This food restriction, is it, cooking food, or are you allowed to make a sandwich for someone?
No.
No food preparation, zero.
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 For 20 years.
Now, he can have food brought in,
Okay.
he just can't prepare
So you
it.
can have Grubhub.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think I can put a frozen pizza, but not that, that's not.
That's the extent
That's it,
probably.
yeah.
So you can do
Maybe I can put in.
bar pizza.
Yeah, bar pizza.
Pizza oven.
Yeah, bar pizza, yeah, bar food, something, yeah. We tried, we call them.
We did try.
We did it.
Work with McDonald's.
Because I got a couple people interested to buy building and they wanna put the franchises. So we tried and no. Not gonna happen.
It was like
We ex-
climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
Sure, they got the money to
Same
sit
wall.
and pay for it every year.
Yeah, we had to send the lawyers and all. We done so much work, though. Take almost 8 months to that one. Yeah.
So your outdoor seating, I don't see it on your map.
Oh, look on the other one.
Should.
This one.
On the site
It's
plan.
on the one in the packet, yeah.
Right, let me see.
I guess that was mine.
It's on the north side. I'm sorry,
South,
south.
yeah, south and west, south, towards the intersection.
So that's just gonna be open, it won't be enclosed at all, there won't be any kind of awning?
I don't wanna say there's not an awning yet, because we're still working out the elevations. Right now, we don't anticipate an awning, we're trying to keep the visibility. The building elevation's actually a little bit lower than the road when you drive by it, so as you're driving by, you look down at it. We wanna try to open this up and put lots of glass at that corner, keep it visible and so, people driving by can have a little bit of a relationship, when they see the people sitting out in the patio, that's the goal there.
Any signage?
Signage, yes. We have it, we thinking put LED signs, but we wanna look different. Look a building like everybody have a signs, I don't wanna look like that one. So we thinking we're gonna do different signs. We don't know, but we wanna do some unique signs so people can come see and they can pop up.
Which they'll have to, of course, meet our sign ordinance for as well.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Doherty?
So, your hours are 3 to 12, so if there's a Bears game or something like that at noon, you're still
Oh,
gonna-
it's like right now temporary, we're gonna put 3 to 12.
Okay.
We see how, when it's gonna be perfect, it's look like we'll be busy, then summertime, we're gonna open it early.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do like the creativity of, bringing food in like that. You're doing something to try to make this work out. So if you wanted to go there and order Rosati's Pizza, you're certainly welcome to do that.
Yeah, so we're gonna put in we're gonna put a 5-6 restaurants in, you go to Crystal Lake Brewery, they have bring the people food inside. They have the menus, so they can automatically we can order it and they can bring it over there.
Very
So
nice.
we're gonna contact with a few people, so they're gonna charge, like a delivery charge, they charge, so we're not gonna charge, maybe we can white it, something, I'm working on that.
I like that idea. Very nice.
Just walk across the parking lot.
Yeah.
Burrito place.
Yeah.
Very good.
Pizza place.
Or the pizza place.
Pizza place, yeah.
There you go, you just
Yeah.
need another restaurant right across there, just walk it in.
I own the pizza place, I
That's
have no
okay.
problem, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
So you're
Plus,
not gonna have any trouble feeding people.
no, that'd be perfect. And plus now we can create a new menu. We're thinking too also with the butcher shop because we are new, so we can put that one too. But they have the sandwiches and everything. They're gonna do it, so we're gonna put that menu over there too. So. Yeah.
So
Additional questions, Commissioner Doherty?
Holidays, are you open on holidays?
Depending employees,
Okay.
how they work.
I didn't know, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that place in Crystal Lake, kind of across from that Tommy's, that's kind of the same thing what you got. Is that a bourbon bar now?
Bourbon bar, yeah.
It
I
used to
know.
be, Suds and something.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. But now he closed early. Yeah. Sometime he open now. He want to retire, so. Yeah, I just see him. He just stopped by last week with me.
Okay, good. Done.
Excellent.
So just, there's no issue for anybody to bring in food from wherever you want, you just can't make it there.
You cannot, yeah, you
Correct.
cannot fry.
Interesting call.
Yes.
Interesting call.
Unfortunately, the deed restriction
Yeah.
that McDonald's has in place is a lot like Walmart or any of the other major retailers. They do the same thing in all of those buildings.
Yeah, so I could go down and get my McDonald's and bring back and
Well,
have bourbon.
it's kinda nice, cause
Exactly, you could do that.
Right.
there's a lot of places that won't let you bring Chinese food in,
Right.
and,
Right, for sure.
you know, I want egg rolls and
Yeah.
pizza and some ribs at the same time.
Right,
You can
Why
make it
not?
happen.
Yeah.
alright,
Absolutely.
interesting.
That's why there's no restaurants around the current McDonald's
No,
or places
Yeah.
that sell drinks or anything
Yeah.
because they have deed restrictions on that property around.
yeah,
I think they done the McHenry saving bank too, I think, when they bought a property.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I think they done it that one too.
Yeah.
Cause I just talked to owners last week, so that's what they said, so.
Yep.
how many employees are you thinking about hiring or
Over there, it's gonna be more than 5.
more?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least more than 5. And plus we have somebody's gonna be special over there that they're gonna teach. We're gonna have like bourbon class, we're gonna have like scotch. So we have like scotch tasting, something, so they're gonna teach them, they're gonna bring all other kind of like holiday times, they wanna bring the glam levet. I just talked to a guy yesterday and he said, Sam, I can bring it over there, $2,000 bottles.
Yeah.
They wanna try it.
So if you have, are you open to private events as well
Yeah,
too? and
we're
stuff?
gonna do private ones, we're gonna do, somebody wanna do private party, yeah. Cause it's enough seating, because it's almost,
Yeah. It looks like it.
when we finish it, it's gonna be like almost 4,000 square foot, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty big.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Additional questions or concerns from commissioners before I go to the public? At this time, I'd like to open the public portion of the meeting. Anyone from the gallery who would like to speak on this matter, please step to the podium. Seeing no movement, I'll close the public portion of the meeting. At this time, I'd like to recognize Alderman Santee, who joined us as well. Alderman, thanks for stopping by this evening. We appreciate your attendance. Additional questions or concerns from commissioners? Seeing no hands, I would be looking for a motion.
I'll make the motion. Yeah.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes, I'll make a motion for approval of conditional use permit to allow a tavern, outdoor seating with alcohol in a smoking area, food trucks, outdoor entertainment on the subject property in substantial conformance with the site prepared by Calypsy, hope I said that right, Design Group, dated 10/16/18, subject to the following 3 conditions stated below. Staff also finds that the requirements of Table 31 Conditional use permits of zoning ordinance have been met.
Excellent, thank you. Commissioner Gerda, you still have a second? Yes, sir. Excellent, thank you. Any additional questions or concerns for commissioners before we call the roll? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Thacker,
Yes.
Commissioner Sabota,
Yes.
Commissioner Strack,
Yes.
Commissioner Doherty,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Gerda.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
At this time, I'd like to close file Z941.
When do you expect to be open, or when you're planning on being open?
Just sending a permit very soon, I think. So I want to open as soon as possible. So I go now.
All right, we'll be there. Doug won't, but-
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave.
Here comes the fun part.
At this time, I'd like to open file Z942. The applicant is the city of McHenry, located at 333 South Green Street here in McHenry. The requested action is approval of various text amendments to the city ordinance and existing land use map, future land use map, and consistency policy. Approval of an agricultural zoning district ordinance, subject to attorney review. Approval of a mixed-use ordinance, again, subject to attorney review. Approval of the existing land use map prepared by H.R. Green dated 11/30 of 17. Approval of the future land use map prepared by H.R. Green dated 7/25/18 with the latest revision date of 8/9 of 18. And approval of the consistency policy to become part of the comprehensive plan and development policies. At this time, we do have the publication notice from the Northwest Herald. Do we not need anything else right now? No? Excellent. That's all we need for that file. So at this time, I will turn the meeting over to Doug for the staff's review of all of these items.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, throughout the commission's review of the future land use map, I'll start with the agriculture and the mixed-use zoning districts. Throughout the future land use map review, the commission decided to create two land use categories: the agricultural land use category and the mixed-use land use category. Pretty self-explanatory. Agriculture, mixed-use land use is basically two land uses, usually residential and commercial. So to go along with that, before you are two ordinances to go, which would in the zoning ordinance. One is called an A1 agricultural district, and one is called an MU mixed-use zoning district. You had seen these before, made some comments and some revisions. One of them was making the A1 a 1 acre minimum lot size. The primary purpose of the agriculture zoning district is to complement the land use on the zoning map, and it's really a holding zone for future development on the future land use map. So instead of designating something residential on the land use map, you put agriculture, and then when somebody comes in, if the property's not in the city, it gives you kind of a little bit of leverage in rezoning it, redesignating it, and you're not married to a land use category. And it can be farmed, and a lot of these properties are in farming already. So it allows that use and some other uses related to agriculture, which you see in the ordinance. The mixed-use district being proposed is to allow mixed-use buildings within neighborhoods to provide retail, service, and other uses on the ground floor and residential units above, and above the non-residential space, to encourage development that exhibit physical design characteristics of a pedestrian-oriented environment, storefront style shopping, that type of thing. So again, this complements the mixed use land use designations on the future land use map, just puts it into regulatory format. So the zoning districts are the regulatory means for the future land use map categories for the agriculture and mixed use zoning classifications, or land use classifications. The future land use map you have before you is the culmination of many months worth of work that you guys did. I think you did an excellent job, led by the chairman, who did a phenomenal job coming up with the concept. I tried to highlight some of the things on the future land use map. We already talked about the agricultural land use district that was proposed, the mixed use zoning district, or land use district. You also proposed guidelines for Main Street, Waukegan Road, Riverside Drive. And then the chairman proposed, and everyone bought into, the McHenry Loop, which is a bike pedestrian path which will mostly utilize existing infrastructure around the city. And encourage people to visit the downtown areas, and really emanates from the downtown areas and goes around the entire city. And on the future land use map, the downtown loop is kind of highlighted. Another thing you'll see on the future land use map is much of the land which was designated as residential on the former map is now designated as agriculture, which I talked about as being a holding zone. And so that's the future land use map. You'll also see that the boundary agreements are all listed on the future land use map. The 1.5 mile boundary is kind of on there as well. So, like I said, I think you guys did an excellent job really going through it. And the last thing is the consistency policy. And this is just something I think it's kind of a checks and balances, and it's a policy, as is the future land use map. And the consistency policy is nothing more than if somebody comes forward with a zoning map amendment, it should be consistent with the comprehensive plan. So the zoning map amendment shall be made consistent with the comprehensive plan. Now, if it is not consistent with the comprehensive plan, the consistency policy says that the Planning and Zoning Commission shall recommend, and the City Council shall also approve a statement describing whether its action is consistent and why it considers the action should be taken, or it's in the public interest if it's not consistent, or why, it should be approved. So it's just kind of, says that, it tries to keep things in order. If you take an action, it should be consistent with what you've said you're gonna do. So with that, I'll just answer your questions that you may have, and answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you, Doug. So before we jump into conversation on the items here, I just want to go over how we will.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
I forgot about the existing land use map. We do have an existing land use map in our comp plan now, but it's not that great. So we did another one through this process, the commission did, and that is also included in this packet. And it basically is what is on the ground now. And that I'm also recommending that the commission make a motion to the council for adoption. So this is the actual public hearing that the commission would make the recommendation for adoption of these documents to the city council. Thanks.
Excellent, thank you, Doug. And that's the item that I would like to discuss with the commission before we get too far in conversation. So in the requested action list, if you see item number 1, which is the various text amendments, that first order that's on there, that would be our first vote tonight, would be to approve the text amendments. The second portion would be lumping the bullet points 1, 2, 3, and 4 those would be lumped into a second vote. So we would be looking for an approval of the agriculture, the mixed use, the existing land use map, the future land use maps. That would be our second vote tonight. So we're gonna split these into three categories so that our city council members, when they read through the notes and understand what we voted for, that there's an ability for us to have conversation on each of these items. If there's a particular item that they need to have more information on, they can at least base it on that. And then the last item would be the consistency policy, so we'll vote on that one as a third vote tonight. So I just wanted to give you that heads up, so as you're thinking about those and questions come up, we're gonna probably try to do these one at a time, I would think might be easier, and have conversation
Yeah,
on each
that's-
one of
that's
them,
good.
and then we'll run them as three separate items, if you will. So on item number one, which is the approval of the various text amendments to the ordinance, the existing land use map, future land use map, and consistency policy, as again, the first item of business is going to be the various text amendments. And so that portion, I think is where we'd like to start with conversation. So if you have any questions or concerns, please raise a hand. I won't run down the list because you may or may not have anything at all to discuss. Seeing no question from commissioners at this time, I would like to open the floor for the public portion of the meeting as well. Seeing no movement from the gallery, I will close the public portion of that as well. Turn it back over to questions or concerns from commissioners. Again, if there's any questions at all, Doug is available to answer them. If there are no questions, I guess we'd be looking for our first motion. And because this one's a little confusing, if you want to if you would like to start the motion, I will read in what we need to read in and confirm that with Doug, because this one's a little different than our normal process.
I'll make the motion, I guess. I'll be brave.
Thank you, Commissioner Walsh. So the motion would be to approve of various text amendments to the City of McHenry ordinance. And that would be it for this one, correct?
Correct, approval of the agricultural zoning district and the mixed-use zoning district.
Right, so
Ordinance.
that will be just the change in the ordinance to add those two to the ordinance.
Yes, correct.
Mr. Walsh, do you agree with that?
So we're taking
Motion.
the first
It's really the first
portion
sentence, yeah.
and the two bullets underneath it, or no?
Yep. First two bullet points, really.
First two.
Oh, it's the first two bullet points.
Yeah, these.
Oh, got it.
Oh, I don't have
Mine
those.
doesn't look like
Yeah,
that.
we don't have those.
Oh,
Which one, this one?
Is that your recommendation on page 5? Could he read your recommendation on page 5?
Thank you, Dorothy. That might be a good opportunity.
Approval of an agricultural zoning district ordinance.
For some reason, my agenda has a bullet.
Your agenda has more bullet points than mine, so I'm just not sure how to do it.
Page 5 gives your staff recommendation.
I don't have a page 5, Dorothy.
Of the staff report.
Oh, right here.
Let me find it on the staff report.
Ah, got it. Okay, I'm gonna read the recommendation. Commissioner Walsh, you let me know if this is approval.
Where you at?
So we would be looking to approve the agricultural zoning district ordinance, subject to attorney review, and approve the mixed-use district ordinance, also subject to attorney review. Those are the only
Yep.
two items that would be on that motion. Commissioner Walsh, are you in agreement with that
I
as your
am
motion?
in agreement with that.
Excellent, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Doherty on a second. Commissioners, any questions thus far on this motion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Strack,
Yes.
Commissioner Sabota,
Yes.
Commissioner Thacker,
Yes.
Commissioner Gerda,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh?
Yes.
Commissioner Doherty?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Excellent, thank you. Moving on to the remaining items, the second conversation would be the land use maps, the existing land use map and future land use map prepared by H.R. Green dated 11/30/17 on the existing land use, and the 7/25/18 future land use map with the latest revision of 8/9/18. Do we have any conversation to have, questions or concerns on either of those maps at this point? Please let me know.
Does anything need to be mentioned about getting that into the book?
Into what?
In the updated map portion of that? Do we need to bring that up?
In what book?
The comprehensive plan book?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's kind of implied that it's the future land use map, to make part of the comprehensive plan. I mean, it's,
Okay, I
You
just
know.
wondered.
you know.
There is probably currently language in the comp plan that says that you'd use the future land use map. I would think this one would just replace the previous.
Okay.
Would you be
Yeah,
correct in that?
yeah, if you wanna mention it, you can, but you'd be correct, yeah.
Absolutely. Good question. Commissioner
Yeah,
Walsh.
because we have those maps in there now.
Any additional questions from the commissioners? At this time, I would also like to open the public portion for this portion of the meeting. Seeing no movement from the gallery, I will close the public portion of the meeting. Turn it back over to commissioners. Commissioner Thacker, do you have a question, sir?
Not at this moment.
Excellent. No one else will look my direction, so I'm guessing no one else has any questions. Do I have a motion for the second portion, which is approval of the existing land use map prepared by H.R. Green dated 11/30/17, and approval of the future land use map prepared by H.R. Green dated 7/25/18 with the latest revision date of 8/9/18.
I'll make a motion as stated by the chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Walsh. Do I have a second? Mr. Sabota on a second? I don't know that I need to ask a third time if there are any questions or concerns, so I will turn it over to the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioner Gerda?
Yes.
Commissioner Thacker?
Yes.
Commissioner Sabota?
Yes.
Commissioner Strack?
Yes.
Commissioner Doherty?
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Excellent, thank you. And lastly, the approval of the consistency policy to become part of our comprehensive plan and development policies. Do we have any questions or concerns on this item?
Can you walk me through the scenario of this consistency, like a fake example of how this would take place, like, you know, it's outside the zoning, but we're gonna consider it anyway, or like, how would that play out from the public? Like, I guess I'm trying to figure out like the pecking order of,
Well, it's not saying that you can't, so when you have a zoning map amendment, you know, you look to see, you know, every staff report that I have, I put on there what the comprehensive plan designates as commercial, right? Say it says commercial and somebody wants to go residential. And, you know, so you have this consistency policy which says that your comprehensive plan and your plans should be consistent, and with your recommendations should be made consistent with the comp plan and your zoning map amendments. So if you rezone something, and it should be consistent with what your comp plan says. So your comp plan and your zoning
should jive.
should jive.
Okay.
Okay, so if you make a recommendation that says, you're gonna rezone something to residential and your comp plan says commercial, you may have a good reason. You may,
I'm gonna take a break for a second. I just.
you may, so this policy says when you're either making a positive recommendation that's consistent with the plan, that means you're being
you're good.
consistent, or you're not making a recommendation that's consistent, that you make a statement with that recommendation to the city council that says, whether your action, that the zoning map amendment is consistent or not with the comprehensive plan, and why you made that recommendation. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what the plan states. And then it also states that, it says why it considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest.
Right.
And I think, Commissioner Walsh, the question becomes, when your comp plan starts to be dated,
Right.
that maybe that area that you're looking at making a change in is
Should go.
changed, it's shifted. And we have seen that in our comp plan today. I think that's part of the reason that we're doing this consistency plan, is the fact that you don't review the comp plan as often as you might want to. And as things shift in a community and the economy, it may change that. This way we can make a change. It can be in the public's best interest for the change to be made, but it may not match the comp plan. Am I correct in that, Doug?
Right. And it also recommends that, it says that it shall be the policy of the commission to recommend to the city council an amendment to the approved future land use map if any recommendation for a zoning map amendment is recommended by the commission which is not consistent with said map and accompanying consistency statement.
Okay.
So if you make a recommendation that's not consistent, then you should update your land use map.
Okay.
And the reason that's important is because if you ever go to court or something, you know, your zoning map is kind of like your regulatory document, and your land use plan is kind of like your policy document. And the two should be like yin and yang,
Okay.
And comp plan as well.
and your comp plan as well.
So does it set a precedence, like if someone else came in and?
Well, yeah,
and
so
it-
it kind
And
of.
then that's
Right.
when you would take a look at your comp plan and go, maybe we should change this?
Right, and like Sean said,
Okay.
so we had Route 31 North as all business park, you know, and if you look now, it's hopefully all commercial.
Yeah, I looked at it.
It is
It's all that
commercial now.
salmon colored?
Yeah.
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 So that was all, like, all those shopping centers up there were all designated business park.
Okay.
So like, but at one time, like Sean said, this was 2000, we hadn't updated our future land use map since 2005.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so it makes sense.
so if you're doing that a lot, and you're like, it's kind of a checks and balances,
Right.
you're probably saying maybe we should do something.
Right.
And the other thing I should mention is we kind of agreed that we would look at this every year.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and I think that's probably part of the issue at hand, was the fact that we hadn't done that in so long. I think the conversation came up, while we were looking at the policy and saying, well, wait a minute, we haven't done an update in that long, so how do we, the comp plan is a bigger project. We can look at future and existing land use maps on a more regular basis, and if we're making additional updates as these things are happening and keeping them more up to date was the goal.
Okay.
But being able to justify that to council is the best way to do that, and being able to give them the best information. This is probably the easiest way to make those revisions and changes without having to have your comp plan match it at the moment.
Right. I think it makes you think, you
Yeah.
know, it makes you think, and then if you have to write a statement to the council saying, this is kind of why, it doesn't say you can't go against the plan, but it
Right.
kinda, you gotta come up with a reason, and then if the council says, yeah, that sort of makes sense, but now you should change your plan to be
Yeah.
sure that, you know, it's correct and not let it get out of hand like we did, kind of.
Yeah, okay. It makes sense. Thank you, guys.
Additional questions or concerns from commissioners?
I'm good.
I will open one last to the public. Seeing no additional movement in the gallery, I'll close that portion of the meeting. And turn it back over to additional questions or concerns from commissioners. If there are none, we'd be looking for a motion to approve the consistency policy to become part of the comprehensive plan.
Mr. Chairman, I just add one thing, because it was, the last time was what, 2005?
Yes.
There will be an effort now to not let that happen again, so to speak, so every 2 years or whatever, we'll be cognizant of the fact that this should be looked at again.
So maps, I believe we're gonna do on an annual basis.
We wanna do it on an annual
Okay.
And
basis.
then, and then we need to have another follow-up discussion on comp plan.
Okay.
And the comp plan is kind of on the list of things that we wanna update, which we haven't done yet. This was kind of on the list of first things to do, but maps we wanna do yearly, yeah.
So just like at end of the year, kind of revisit the
Right,
map.
so
Yeah.
we talked about
So
the fact that
do we need
maybe,
to look at this?
maybe in whatever that month is, whether we pick December, November, December, January, whatever that is finding a time when it's great for us to do that, and it will be, you know, it'll get tacked on to an additional meeting, or maybe we'll run a special meeting for that if we have full agendas every month. But I think annually, we need to look at those maps, and that will keep us current. The bigger problem, you know, you had to start somewhere, we picked maps first, and now we can move on to, okay, let's review comp plan, let's start moving down the list of items to review. And I think we as a commission looked at that last year and said, okay, well, we need to be adding maybe one thing every month's meeting, start chipping away at getting that updated and keeping it current at that point.
Yeah, I think keeping it December, January, bringing it up would be the best, because, you know, January,
Typically less.
February, March is always slow, so it's a good time for us to actually do it.
Sure.
review it, so.
And then we also have, you know, the other thing is you look at the commissioners' roles and with the annual appointments. So if a commissioner starts in April or May, right, we've got, you know, that's the transition time of the position. So if in fact we have a new chairman come in, you know, Commissioner Gerda's been here a short amount of time, but if we do that maybe in January, February, or March, now a newer commissioner's had enough months to understand more of that process and make those inputs during that time. So that's probably the right time to do it before the changeover happens one
Yes.
more time as well.
I agree.
Commissioner Thacker, did that answer your
Ooh,
question,
yes, it
sir?
did. Thank you.
Excellent, sure. If not, I'm looking for a motion as previously read.
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Sabota on the first, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Thacker on the second. Dorothy, would you like me to reread that?
Yep.
Approval of the consistency policy to become part of the comprehensive plan and development policies. Motion was submitted by Commissioner Sabota, seconded by Commissioner Thacker. Any additional questions or concerns?
I just saw one thing on this one map here, it says Crystal Lake Road, I don't think it's Crystal Lake Road.
Existing or future, sir?
Existing.
Right here?
Future land use?
Was that the existing?
Future, I believe, that's the colored one.
That's existing.
That's existing.
Oh, is it existing?
I think that's Ralph, that's like Elm Street. And then it goes to Front Street. See the fire, where the fire
Oh, I
district is?
see. Oh, you're right.
So that should probably be made to,
You see it just once, right?
Elm
I
Street.
did just see it once, yeah.
All right, that's a good catch.
And then, on 31 North, I don't know if we wanna put that you know, they own that property up there, on the Front Street, probably, where's that, you know, right where Shamrock Lane would run off? If you kept,
Sure.
Is that Shamrock?
So it would, Shamrock at the Shaw Center?
yeah, like
Opposite
kitty
the
corner
shop?
from there, there's, the fire department on that little area right there.
They own, if you go Shamrock Lane, you go straight, they own that property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do you wanna mark that or no?
Probably not yet, cause it's still not in the city and it's still
Whatever.
undeveloped. Cause it's.
I saw you got this other one up here by Colonial Funeral Home. That was the only thing, that's marked red. no big deal, but.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. All right.
That's where the current fire station is.
It really should be agriculture.
That's it. Beautiful. These maps are much better than the ones, I think those other ones drove Butch Meyer out of here.
Actually, Chris,
Sue finally got her big maps and she's not here.
Yeah. We should mail her one.
Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah. Do I need to do anything with that, are we good?
no.
Excellent. So, Commissioner Sabota was our motion, Commissioner Thacker was our second on the approval of the consistency policy. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Walsh.
Yes.
Commissioner Doherty.
Yes.
Commissioner Strack.
Yes.
Commissioner Sabota.
Yes.
Commissioner Thacker.
Yes.
Commissioner Gerda.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Well done,
Excellent.
Doug, on the map and the whole project.
Yeah.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to close file Z942. Moving on to item number 8 is the consideration of the approval of the 2019 meeting schedule. Does anyone have any revisions or changes to the schedule that they would like to recommend? If not, I would be looking for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Sabota with a second by Commissioner Doherty. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Strack.
Yes.
Commissioner Sabota.
Yes.
Commissioner Thacker.
Yes.
Commissioner Gerda.
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh.
Yes.
Commissioner Doherty.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Excellent, thank you. Lastly, item number 9, we have a staff report coming from Mr. Martin.
Yes, there will be a meeting December 13th. We'll have one or, probably 2 cases. Probably the Crystal Lake Road, or the Crystal Lake Road Cane Farm coming back for senior housing, apartments, some mixture thereof.
That's a Thursday, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it is Thursday. And then the Youth Family Center, they need to get assembly use because they have more than, on Elm Street, they have more than 25 people in there. So, just east of Green. I think those are the only 2 cases we'll have, probably.
Excellent. I had a question for you now, and I don't remember what it was. Any other questions or concerns for staff? Looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sabota with Commissioner Doherty as a second. Do I have anyone opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Good job.
Thank you, Alden.
What these maps?
Yeah. Oh, we went back to the next one.
No.
No. Meeting
No,
this.
thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent job.
Thank you. Yeah, it was,
Except Crystal Lake Road is not.